You're listening to 8158 Stories of Sacrifice, where we honor the bravery of the first responders and the families who stand behind them. Real people, real stories, real heroes. This is 8158. Welcome back to another episode of 8158 Podcast Stories of Sacrifice. Today's guest, we have Jared. He is former law enforcement. I believe he worked for the sheriff's department. And he's done it for quite a while. It's amazing. Anyways, let's welcome Jared, and we're going to let him tell his story. So you had told me previously that something had happened. Something took place, and you were working at Sonic at the time. So let's talk about that situation real quick.
Okay, I was 18 years old. I was working at Sonic fast food place, and I was downtown Oklahoma City in April of 1995.
Mhm.
And the exact date was April 19th. And the bomb went off, and I felt it. I was just a couple of blocks away, and they were asking for anybody and everybody that could help. Anyone, because it was just, you've seen the damage, you've seen the destruction.
It's so 1 second. You're talking about the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yes, the Murrow building, the Oklahoma
Okay.
City Murrow building bombing in 1995.
That's so everybody knows what he's talking about.
168 people lost their lives.
Okay.
And after about 2 weeks, they cleared out everyone that was non-law enforcement. And the sheriff came up to me and asked me if I would like to have a job. And I said, absolutely. And I've been working in law enforcement ever since.
So you're 18 years old. That's
Yes.
the youngest deputy I've ever heard of.
Well, I started out in the jail.
Well, obviously, but even still, 18 years old working in corrections, that's still pretty young.
Yeah.
But it's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just been part of who I am. The way I was raised is just to help people. And that's just what I've always had the passion for helping.
Right.
And so what other way than to protect and serve?
Absolutely. My cousin Billy, that's where he started out. He was in the National Guard, and he worked in the jail.
Mm-hmm.
So he had 20 years in the Guards, retired, and 13 years with the sheriff's office.
I did in the jail. I worked in the jail until I was 21.
Okay.
And then when I turned 21, I made deputy.
Oh, congrats.
And I worked at the courthouse for 5 years. And then I went to the streets for another 12. Thought I was done.
Thought so.
So I left. And I was gone for about 4 months. And I was like, nope, law enforcement, I'm going back. So I went back to a little police department at a college.
Okay.
And it wasn't a police force. It was more security.
Yeah.
And it just didn't fit me. So I went to the state and worked for a women's prison for the last 10 years of my career. So, and that's where it ended.
So the last job you had was working in a women's correctional facility in Oklahoma.
The largest in the United States.
Oh, wow.
We held 1,200 women.
Ooh.
And I was the captain there. Since with all my previous experience, I was the fastest ranking captain in the history of Oklahoma Department of Corrections.
Okay.
I went from a cadet to a captain within 2.5 years. I was running that facility with a minimum by policy, we're supposed to run it with at least 14.
Okay.
I was doing it with 6.
Holy moly.
I was filling in all those other spots. And when I'd go to my administration for help saying, "Hey, I've only got 6 people here. What do you want me to do?" The only answer I would ever get was, "You're the captain, figure it out." They would no help at all.
Well, I mean, your job is to ask for help, right? You're
Eh,
supposed to go up the ranks and say, "Hey, this is what we need. Can you give it to us?"
Right, and they never would, so just add the stress, add the stress onto it,
Yeah.
and then COVID hit,
Yeah. Oh,
and in 2022, me and my team well, to even go back even further, I was at Katrina
mm,
when the levee broke.
yeah.
I went up there and helped that. I've had to deal with my buddies with 9/11 and, seeing all of that. Um, Living in Oklahoma and all the tornadoes and all the destruction that I've seen, for 47 years, I buried everything. I put everything behind a brick wall.
Yeah.
Every like 95% of officers do. We don't talk about it, we bury it.
Yeah.
And in 2022, me and my team, with COVID so bad, you name an illegal substance, it was in that prison.
Oh, I can imagine.
And we had 22 overdoses that
Uh,
year. Me and my team was able to bring back 21 of them. The last one we couldn't. And throughout my 30-year career and never reaching out for help, it caught up and I had a mental breakdown. So I took 5 months off, and the thought of putting a uniform back on, I couldn't do, but I still wanted to help. So I told them, I said, "Hey, I can't be the captain anymore, but I want to come back and still help out at the prison and, be a servant." So I took over the gym. The gym hadn't been open in 8 years, and I came up with activities for them. We were doing karaoke, we were doing softball. I brought the Oklahoma State softball cowgirls
mhm.
softball team.
Yeah.
I brought their entire team, coach, every one of them. They all came out, gave, words of encouragement. The OKC Spark, another softball team, came out and talked to them. I was putting on concerts just to get their minds out of prison
Yeah.
because I don't care who you are, anyone in this world, even police officers, even judges, even everybody. If you've ever said you've never broken the law, you're a liar.
Right.
So when we look at inmates, are there bad ones? Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
But are there people who ran a stop sign and accidentally hit somebody and they died and now they're in prison? Yeah. Did that could have been me or you.
Right.
So people are real quick to judge people. That's the reason when I went back and I had my empathy, because for 5 months while I was off work for my mental health breakdown, mind you, I was a captain. I was running that place, $50 million facility, and I was running it by myself. And not one phone call, not one phone call to see how I was, to check on me, to ask about me, see if I needed anything. Nothing. So I was like, okay, well, maybe they're just letting me figure everything out. My very first day back, one of the big bosses walked right up to me and said, "Hey," and I wasn't a captain anymore. He said, "Hey, Cat, I heard you were going through some stuff. Welcome back." And I just looked at him and it triggered me again.
Mm.
And I said, "If you heard about me, why didn't you call and check on me?"
Yeah.
And from that point on, the word Yana jumped into my head. And it was, "You are never alone."
Right.
And I started talking about that for the past 3 years. I've been talking about Yana is "You are never alone." And 4 months before October,
Okay.
I was awarded the number 1 award in the state of Oklahoma for the Department of Corrections for the We Change Lives Award.
Wow.
And 4 months later, I was fired for not clocking out for a lunch. That's the reason they gave me. My doctor put me back on FMLA because I have a recurring flashback every morning. I had it this morning.
Okay.
Every single morning I see the same baby that I held in my arms who passed away from a car wreck I worked
Okay.
back in 2002. And it's taken a long time I always thought it was a curse. I always wake up every day with a curse. I see this baby, it's a curse. And then I'm like, okay, but I'm breathing. God gave me breath. Go be positive. So I take my day from a curse to a blessing. And then I had a buddy of mine tell me, he goes, "Man, why do you see that as a curse?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I see a dead baby every day.
Hmm.
How is that not a curse?" He said, "Have you ever thought about it as you hand delivered a child to God?"
Right.
And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Thinking of it that way." And I run a TikTok channel for men speaking up about their mental health because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of men thinking they have to be a man and hide their feelings. And man, you can talk, you can ask for help, you can cry, whatever. There's always someone there.
Yeah.
And for 47 years, I always thought no one was ever there. And one night I was talking, and it was the day that I got my letter of being terminated. And I've never, ever let people in my boxes on TikTok because I don't know what they're going to say or do or whatever.
Yeah.
But something was telling me to let this guy up. And I let Dwayne,
Dwayne Brown.
Dwayne Brown,
Yeah.
I let
Okay.
Dwayne Brown up in my room. And sorry,
You're good. It's all right, buddy.
he invited me to his journey. And it absolutely changed my life.
Yeah.
I was unemployed, still unemployed. Because I was let go because the reasoning they gave me was I didn't clock out for a lunch. And they pulled me in the office and I asked them, "I can't have my cell phone for lunch. I was making business calls. I'm not going to clock out if I'm making business calls."
Right.
So we already talked about it. So that was a form of discipline. Never done it again. But they went back and reversed the talking to a termination. So I was unemployed, 30 years gone. Retirement, annual leave, sick leave,
Everything.
everything gone. I don't get anything. So I was like, What did I risk my life for 30 years for?
Right.
Why did I walk out that door and my wife have to worry about me for 30 years? But Dwayne popped up, offered me to go to that journey, Shepherd's Light Foundation,
Yeah.
and I went. And best decision of my life. I've been looking for 3 to 4 years for a program that would help with mental health, PTSD, all kinds of stuff. There's no help for first responders. Military, I love my military. Don't get me wrong. I love them.
Yeah.
Love, love, love our military.
Absolutely.
But somebody in the military can get hurt after 6 months and they're taken care of for the rest of their life. I did 30 years, suffer from PTSD, anxiety, depression, ADHD, all kinds of stuff because of 30 years. No help, none. But if your house is on fire, or if you're being assaulted, or your car gets stolen, or something like that, you don't call the military.
No.
You call first responders.
Yeah. Go for help.
Where's our help? Where's the paramedics' help? Where's the firemen's help? Firemen, all of us, anyone in first responder, nurses, ER nurses, they see all kinds of stuff, just like we do. But at the end, there's no help. And that's what I'm trying to change. Because when I went down to Georgia with that Shepherd's Life Foundation, people can call me crazy. People can call me nuts. They can call me whatever they want. I don't care. The closest person to me was about 200 yards away. We're on horseback and we're on 1,200 acres of this ranch up in the mountains. Beautiful scenery. And I heard a voice say, "Let it go. I've got it." And I knew exactly. It hit me. I knew it was the money.
Yeah.
The money. It was, you know, law enforcement. We live paycheck to paycheck. Sometimes not even paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, I'll see my wife make $20 the last 2 weeks. So, but when he said that, my whole body relaxed, and I knew that I had my God back. Yeah, right after that, my daughter got me a necklace, and I still have it. I wear it every day.
Mhm.
And on one side of it, it says, "You are never alone." And I was like, "Oh, cool, honey. Thank you." I was like, "You had my motto put on a necklace. That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Dad, look at the other side." And I looked at the other side and it said Joshua 1:9. And I never knew 3 years ago when I said Yana, I never knew that "You are never alone" was Joshua 1:9.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And I have felt God's presence in my life ever since totally surrendered in Georgia. I gave my life back to Him, and I owe my life to the Shepherd's Light Foundation.
That's amazing.
And since then, I stay in contact. I talk to Dwayne all the time. He has asked me to be part of his team
Oh, that's a blessing. That's awesome.
and come down and be one of his instructors. So I'll volunteer, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I will volunteer till the day that the Lord calls me home. But if I can help one guy not go through what I did, that's all
Right.
that matters. And that's what we're supposed to be here for. And ever since I found God, it's just been one thing after another blessing. I found a college that gives out free college classes if you want to take college classes, Christian based. Since I've done it, I have become ordained minister in weddings, funerals, peer support, couchman, all kinds of things just so I can help. And it's all his will. It's not mine. It was his will that I've been looking for 3 to 4 years for a place to help, but I never knew it was gonna be me. And that's what I feel like he's driving me to now is I've been talking about it for 20 plus years. Why not do something about it?
Right.
I never knew how to do it, but I have no job now. So I have all the time in the world now to reach out to people, to help people, to do whatever I can. Am I struggling in finances? Yep. Do I care? Nope. Because I can't take any of that stuff with me.
Right.
I can take my memories of my wife and my kids with me, but what memories do I have if I'm constantly working? For 47 years, that's all I did. Constantly work. After I got laid off, I sat and I counted how many birthdays my daughter was 26 years old. I counted up how many birthdays I went to. 5.
Wow.
Because all the times I was at work, I missed a lot of my family's life. And just to be crapped on the way they did, that hurt more than anything. I didn't get a retirement party. I didn't get a thank you. I didn't get anything. But the one thing that hurts the most, and still to this day, is my wife. She has to get up every day and go to work at the same place that fired me. She works there too, and she wants to quit so bad, but she can't. She's our only income.
Yeah.
I filed for disability, but in Oklahoma, that takes about 2 years.
Oh, jeez.
You gotta get denied about 3 times, and then you go in front of a judge and prove that, "Yeah, I'm messed up. I'm messed up. I can't really hold a regular job." But she has to get up, put a brave smile on her face, and go to that place, and her love and my love, besides God, is softball. She played college ball, high school ball. Our daughter played college ball. She's a high school coach. Well, the prison started a softball team, and they knew how good my wife was,
Mhm.
and they asked her to play. She said no. And they're like, "Why not?" And she's like, "Really? Y'all
Right.
really gonna ask me why I'm not playing?"
Right.
And they're like, "You can get over it. How do you how do you just get over you firing your husband?
Right.
You don't." But I've told her, I was like, "I don't want you going to work unhappy. If you're unhappy, just quit. We'll figure something out."
Yeah.
And that's the main thing is always being happy. And I've started since got certified and a lot of stuff. I feel like God's calling me to not start my own church or anything like that, but my own ministry. So I started Yana Crew Ministry,
Oh, wow.
and all I'm doing is reaching out for people that need just someone to talk to, just someone to listen. I was a negotiator for the state for 2 years. That's one of the main things that we do is listen. Negotiators aren't supposed to control, we listen. And there's a lot of stuff you can get if you just listen to somebody. Just don't have a closed off mind. Open your mind up and just listen to what somebody is going through, what they've been through, and you can feel it if it's legit or not. And Dwayne was legit,
Yeah.
and that dude saved my life. And it's my job now to repay the favor and do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Pay it forward.
Yeah. And that's all I want to do. Am I concerned about money? No. It's the weirdest thing because for the longest time, that's all all I cared about or worried about or anything was how are we gonna pay this? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do this? But none of it matters. If I'm not doing what's making my family or my friends or anyone happy or myself, if I'm not taking care of myself, what am I doing?
Right.
If I'm not doing God's work, what am I doing? I'm just existing. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want people to being like me and not knowing which way to go or their emotions, all that are out of whack, all because they were afraid. Afraid, and I'll say they're afraid. They're not ashamed. They're afraid of asking for help because they're going to get labeled.
Yeah. There's going to be backlash.
You're weak. You're
Hmm.
pathetic. You're unfit. You shouldn't be a cop. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that because you feel this way. No, how about you just help them because they've seen a lot of trauma.
Hmm.
I was trying to we would have some very, very serious accident happen at the prison. By policy, we're supposed to have a debriefing right after it to make sure that everybody's okay. We never did that once. Never did it once. Everybody go back to your spot. Finish your day. I mean, we would see some stuff,
I can imagine.
and then, nah, no big deal. Everybody go back to doing what you're doing. It's over. And they just expect people to live like that. So after 10 years and they let me go, I watched so many people get let go for the stupidest reasons or no reasons at all.
Hmm.
So I said, "You know what? Enough's enough. I'm gonna be the person to stand up to them." I said, "I know policy like the back of my hand." I said, "I'm gonna stand up to them." So I said, "Okay, I'll see you on court." So we went to mediation. They asked me what I wanted. And at this time, it was November. I said, "Look, all I want is for you to put me back on FMLA till January, and I can retire.
Hmm.
That's it. 2 months. Go to hell." Their exact words. Go to hell.
Wow.
I was like, "Oh, okay, guess I'll see you on court." Well, the judge asked if there was anything I needed. I said, "Well, yeah, I don't have an attorney. I need 2 witnesses called for the 2 people that brought me into the office that asked me about why didn't I clock out and make that phone call and all that about that day, because that's discipline. It's an
Right.
as we discussed. And now they turned it into a termination. That's double jeopardy. You can't do that.
Mhm.
That's against policy. And they said, and they looked at the state's attorney and said, yeah, we'll have them here. I was like, cool. Come day of trial. They looked at me and they said, Mr. McCord, go ahead and call your first witness. I said, okay. I call Deputy Warden Brewer. State objects. I'm like, why are we objecting? And the judge even kind of looked shocked and said, why are we objecting? And said, Your Honor, she said, Your Honor, it's the plaintiff's responsibility. The burden of proof is on him. So if he wanted anybody really subpoenaed, he should have done it himself.
So they're playing the game now.
So I had no witnesses to tell my side of the story. It was just my word, and lost the case. So they covered it up again,
Yeah.
just like they cover all of it up. And it's okay. I'm okay with it because, like I said, it drove me to the Shepherd's Light Foundation, and that's where I wanna help first responders now. I'm not just looking at military, I'm looking at if you have a heartbeat
Mhm.
and you need help, I'm here,
Exactly.
because even I don't have money, I can't help you up financially, but I can be an ear,
Mhm.
and 98% of the time, that's what people need, is just someone to talk to, just someone that's there for them. And I have that now with my brothers with the Shepherd's Light and the Kingdom Connection and all that. Am I sad still? Yeah, I'm sad still that I lost my career the way I did. I didn't get I think the saddest thing is I worked with those women for 10 years. I watched them grow up inside that prison. I watched them change. I watched them become better people. And I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to either the inmates or my fellow coworkers. And I think that's what hurts. That hurts worse than even getting fired,
Mhm.
is just not the chance of saying getting the chance of saying goodbye. And my wife, like I said, she still works there and she sees the ladies there all the time, and they always ask about me, tell me how they're praying for me and they miss me and this and that and this and that. And it's funny because I've been gone since October and I still have more respect on that yard than that entire administration does.
Right.
I could go there tomorrow and that prison would be perfect. But right now they're having fights left and right, this and that, this and that. But if I was there, nothing,
Mhm.
because it's a respect level. If you treat them like humans, they act like humans. You treat them up like caged animals, that's the way they're going to act.
Right.
And they didn't like the new me from when I came back after 5 months, because if no one called me in 5 months to check on their captain, who's checking on those ladies?
Right. Nobody.
So, so I decided, yeah, I had to go back. I had to for them. And when I started doing all these positive things for them, they didn't like it. They wanted to be miserable. And then when I got that award, that made my administration really mad. So 4 months later, I'm gone. But I don't care because God has a different route for me now. And the Yana Crew Ministry and the Shepherd's Life Foundation we're going to join up, and I'm going to do nothing but help Dwayne. I'm not getting paid at all. Don't I don't want anybody getting that confused at all. I'm not
Right.
getting this is all 100% out of my heart because for so long I've wanted to help and I never did. And I suffered, and I look back at myself going, "You know what? You blame everybody for never coming to help you, but what are you doing to go help people?"
Hmm.
So, that's what I'm doing now is I'm changing it to helping anyone I can.
That's awesome. That is amazing. You definitely are on the right track and on the right path because well, that's what we do here is we try to help people. We don't
Yeah,
get paid to do this. We do this because this is something that we are passionate about. And this is in honor of my cousin. And that's why we started this thing. And, with individuals like yourself, we want to connect you people with other people so that we can let
yeah,
everybody know that you're not alone.
exactly.
And you're not the only one that's lost their job because of their mental health issues. The things that you've suffered through doing your job has happened to many people. And we've had many guests, and we know a lot of people that have lost their jobs or afraid to talk about it because they don't want to lose their jobs, because they're like you said, they're going to feel weak. They're going to feel like, people are going to look at them differently or don't want them to be there on the job or one reason or the other. And their higher command is going to want to relieve them of their duty, just like what they did with you.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And that's the main reason why they did that. They didn't do it because you didn't clock out.
No.
That's a silly, petty reason.
Yeah,
And we all know the truth about why they did that,
exactly.
you know?
And the best part is I forgot I totally left this out. For 3 years, I've had Yana. I had Yana painted up on my window in my office in the gym. Okay, "You are never alone."
Mhm.
The day I went on FMLA, the day of, in October, I called and called and called and called, no one would answer the phone. I know they have their cell phones on them because the administration can carry their cell phones.
Of course.
So, they're just ignoring, ignoring, ignoring. So, I sent email after email after email. I finally got a hold of the HR, told her, "Hey, doctors put me back on FMLA. All the paperwork's done. I'll get it to y'all tomorrow. I'll have Christy, my wife, bring it in." They're like, "No problem. No problem. Okay. Take care of yourself." I was like, "I will. Thanks. I appreciate it." And I've been learning how to play guitar for about 2 years now, and I was just playing my guitar in my shop. No big deal. Bang, 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 bang. I live on a dead end road. Who
Yeah.
is at my house? So I open up the door, and it's my buddy Jeff. He's a deputy,
Mhm.
and he is out of breath, huffing and a puffing. And I'm like, "Jeff, what's going on, man? You in a foot pursuit? Who you chasing, man? Where'd they go? What do you need?" He goes, "No, man, I'm here to check on you." I'm like, "What? Dude, you haven't been to my house in 20 years. Why are you why are you coming to my house to check on me now?"
Right.
He goes, "Your work called. Your work called and said you were gonna kill yourself."
What?
I was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm Yana. I would never hurt myself." So I'm like, "Okay, step back. let me step back. I was like, there's 3 people that know I was going on FMLA.
Mhm.
Me, my wife, and my doctor. I didn't call 911. My doctor didn't call 911. Let me call my wife to see if she may have been concerned. So I call her. Did you call the police on me? She's like, no. Why would I do that? Because we're here now trying to commit me? And she's like, what? I was like, yeah. Someone called and said I was going to kill myself and they want to commit me.
Jesus.
And I was like, can you go over to the warden's office and find out what's going on? And she's like, yeah. So she goes over there and they're in a meeting. She stands by the door and they finally ask her, they're like, Mrs. McCord, can we help you? And she's like, yeah. Considering I'm 20 feet down the hallway, I'd like to know who called 911 on my husband and said he was going to kill himself and why. When y'all could just come to my office and ask me.
Mhm.
They all looked around the room and just said, we're in a meeting. We'll talk to you later. That was at 2 o'clock. She left at 5 o'clock and they still didn't talk to her. They still haven't talked to her about it.
Of course not.
I have still not gotten an answer why the cops I called the sheriff's office. They know who I am because I did 20 plus years there. I said, "Hey, I want to know who called." And they said, "Jared, we can't tell you that." I was like, "You can tell me where it came from.
Mhm.
You can tell me the number it come from. You don't have to tell me anything other than that." And they're like, "Not anymore. You have to have a subpoena for everything."
Hmm.
I was like, "Great." So I couldn't even find out who called. There is no way possible. And that's why my buddy Jeff got there so quick because he knew I had issues
Mhm.
from previous. And he wanted to get there because the other guy that was on duty was a rookie.
Yeah.
And if a rookie showed up my house with the wrong attitude and said stuff like that, it could have triggered me. And I could have
Yeah.
said something stupid and been committed.
Right.
But since it was my buddy Jeff, God sent him, I was able to stay calm. But who's to say it wouldn't have been a rookie and I flipped out or whatever? Then my whole life would have been ruined. For what? That's
Some of the yeah.
I still don't have the answer to that. For what? What did
Some
I do for you to call 911 when you could have called me? You could have went and asked my wife. But here, the one thing that really gets me is when my wife went over there to ask them if they were so concerned, if they were so concerned that they called 911 to see if I was okay, why didn't they say, "Hey, that was us. We did that. How is he?
Yeah.
We want to know if he's okay. Is he okay? We did that. We
Y
heard that he was having problems, so yeah, we made that decision. How is he?" No. All she got was, "We're in a meeting. Get out."
huh.
So you care enough to call 911, but you don't care enough to tell my wife that you care.
Right, or at least say, "Hey, we're concerned." At least address her and say, "Hey, we're concerned. This is what we're gonna do." Bring her into the meeting, say, "Hey, we wanna know what's going on with your husband." That I mean, to me as a leader, that's what makes sense. You know that, "Hey, this guy's spouse works here. We're gonna go talk to her real quick. We're gonna draw her into this so that
Yeah.
we can get her involved and say, 'Hey, we have some concerns. This is what we wanna do. Let's get it done so that we can make sure he's okay.'"
And the weird thing is I live, and they all know it. They all know it. I live 2.5 miles from work. If they were that concerned, one of them drive to my house or, hey, send my wife. Hey, it's 2.5 miles away. Go check on your husband.
Yeah.
But no, you call 911. And I couldn't get a copy of the 911 tape for my hearing because there wasn't enough time, because it takes 3 months to pull a 911 tape.
Yeah.
So for my court hearing, I couldn't even pull the tape.
Interesting.
And December 15th was my court date. The judge told me that we would know she would give me a ruling within 10 business days. So, not counting Christmas and holidays and all that, it would have been December 30th. 30th come around, nothing. 31st, holiday. Then the weekend. On January 5th, I called and said, "Hey, I had court on the 15th. I'd like to know, can I get an answer on, my history, or on my future of my job?" January 6th was the day would have made 30 years. The
Man,
exact day. The exact day, January 6th. And that's the day I got the email saying that it was official. So 29 years and 10 months from when I went on FMLA and I got my termination letter. So I say 30. I was 2 months shy. I say 30. And I'm going to keep saying I'm retired. I'm not going to say I was fired, because I think 30 years is long enough to say that you retired.
absolutely.
And for them to say that they fired me for not clocking out for a lunch, that is the most asinine and absurd reason I've ever heard of letting someone go.
Yeah, after 10 years of dedication with that specific job, yes.
Yeah. And getting, well, I was the 10 years I was there, and this is not bragging, but the 10 years I was there, I got 7 awards, a commendation from the governor. I was a negotiator. I talked a guy off of a water tower for 18 hours straight, and to be rewarded with, "Hey, you didn't clock out, you're fired." That's just straight up telling me they wanted me gone.
Sounds like somebody didn't want you to get your pension either.
Yeah. So now we're just I take, I'm an umpire. Softball has been part of our life forever. I umpire when I can, when there's tournaments and stuff, so I can make a little bit of extra money for my wife. But right now it's Struggleville. It's
Yeah,
Struggleville, but you see I'm doing it with a smile on my face, because I know no matter what happens, God has my back. And it's all about God's timing. He wouldn't have put me through everything I've been through if he wasn't going to be there for me now.
right.
And I'm a completely changed man now than I was back in October. In October, I was a bitter, hostile. I blamed God. I blamed everybody for, because I mean I looked at it as 30 years wasted. 30 years wasted because I don't have anything to show for it. But then my wife's pulled me and set me down. My wife is my rock and my solid. Been married almost 30 years. She set me down and she said, "What do you mean it was wasted?" She was thinking about how many people's lives you've touched and saved.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but what do I have to show for it?" And she goes, "They're alive. That's what you have to show for it. Those people are alive because of you."
Mhm.
And I was like, and again, it went to my head of, what about me?
Yeah,
What do I have to show for it? I don't need anything. I've already proven it to God. I don't need anything.
right.
It's all it wants. I've got everything I need with the love of my wife and my Lord and my kids.
Amen to that. We will return after this quick ad break.
The William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation is on a mission to honor first responders and support those who serve. We provide scholarships for families who have lost a hero in the line of duty, offer second chances to juvenile offenders who are working to rebuild their future, and help new recruits pursuing careers as first responders. Through generous donations and the sale of merchandise, we're building a community that uplifts, empowers, and creates lasting impact. You can be a part of this mission as well. Visit 8158podcast.com to donate or shop today. Together, we can support those who serve, honor those we've lost, and give hope to those who need it most. Behind every badge is a story, and behind every story is a sacrifice. This is the 8158 podcast, where we honor the lives and legacies of first responders and their families. If our mission speaks to your heart, if these stories move you like they move us, join us on Patreon. For just $5 a month, you'll get ad-free listening, exclusive merchandise, behind-the-scenes content, and video episodes only available to our patrons. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and you can be a part of it. Support us at patreon.com/8158podcast. Let's continue to share the stories that deserve to be heard. There's just something about that first cup of coffee. For a lot of us, it's not just a routine, it's a reset. Before the shift, after the call, or in those quiet moments when everything finally slows down. That's why we're proud to partner with Fully Involved Coffee, a brand built around something bigger than just caffeine. This is coffee for a cause. Fully Involved Coffee supports first responders, veterans, and the communities that stand behind them. Every bag, every cup is part of a mission to give back to those who serve. And the coffee itself is fire. Small batch roasted, high quality beans, bold enough to get you through long shifts, early mornings, and late nights. From strong, no-nonsense roasts to smooth blends and even flavored options, plus tea if that's more your speed, they've got something for everyone. This isn't just good coffee, it's coffee with purpose. Head on over to 911gogojuice.com, use the promo code 8158 at checkout to support the mission and save on your order. And when you sign up for their monthly subscription, you'll get 10% off. So whether you're on duty, off duty, or just taking a moment to breathe, Fully Involved Coffee, brewed for those who serve and those who stand beside them.
And that's what it's about now, is just spreading the love. There's not enough positivity in this world.
Yeah.
And I proved it with my daughter. My daughter's a high school teacher. And I said, I got homework for you. I was like, I got a pop quiz for your kids. And she was like, what's that? I said, give them all a blank piece of paper and put a big round black dot right in the middle of the paper. That's the only thing you put on the paper. Just a round black dot. And on the back of the paper, have them describe what's on the front of that paper. 98% of them will say big round black dot, round dot about 3 inches wide, 2 inches wide. They'll describe the dot.
Mm-hmm.
No one will say anything about the light surrounding it.
Right.
All the
Light.
blessing,
Yeah.
all the blessings surrounding that darkness, we always look past.
Right. There's
And
a bigger
why?
picture.
Why? Because the world's so focused in
Yeah.
on that negative. We have so many wonderful, wonderful, great officers, first responder, everything. But let one do something bad. we're all bad.
Yeah.
We're all bad. Don't look at all the stuff that we've done good. Where's the world at now from 2001?
Right.
This whole world, this whole nation came together on 9/11. There was no hate. There was nothing. We all were one nation, all one race, all one everything, because we were all under attack.
Right.
We all came together. Why does it have to take a tragedy for us to come together? It shouldn't.
Right.
We should love one another no matter who you are, what kind of job you have. If you're doing the right thing, why shouldn't I love you?
Right. We're one nation under God.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm like, until you give me a reason not to support you and love you, I'm there.
Right.
And 9/11 was a prime example of that, of how the world came together in one day. One day. I mean, yeah, it was a terrible, 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 terrible day. But if you look at it from the outside and look at all the people, how we all started loving one another, where did that go? Now we got teenagers running the streets doing whatever they want,
Yeah.
and nothing's being done to them. There's no accountability, there's no love. It's all about the negativity that we focus in on, and we have to change that from looking at the black dot to looking at all the white.
What's on the outside?
Yeah. And that's my mindset now, is always, always, always look for the blessings instead of the negative.
Yeah. You know,
Treat
you just got to see beyond your focal point. And
Yep.
I have experienced that myself. I was in a negative place. Of course, I put myself there. And you probably wouldn't know this, but I did 14 years in prison.
Mm.
And my whole time there was not a cakewalk. It was
Yep.
not fun. But I realized that I did not want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to be like these guys that keep coming into the revolving door.
Rotating.
Yes. So what did I do? I did everything I could to stay busy, I took classes if I needed to. I went to work. I had good jobs when I was in there.
Yeah.
I became a trustee. I got a CDL when I was in there. And the last 5 years, I was on the prison property, but I wasn't even in prison. I
Yeah.
was outside of the prison. And my job was to work in a warehouse, and we delivered goods around the state of Montana. So I traveled the entire state of Montana with a staff member to deliver stuff. And that was like a starting point for me to be successful.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to change my life. I couldn't let this negative thing take me down a more negative path. I had to look beyond it.
Right.
I had to look for the future. And a lot of people, when you're in prison, it's always a negative thing. And when you talk about the future, they're like, oh, you're just living in a pipe dream. That's not
Mhm.
true.
Nope.
Your life can be whatever you make it, whatever you want it to be. You don't have to live in the same cycle. You can break the cycle. I'm
Absolutely.
living proof of that. I broke the cycle. And I mean, look where I'm now. I'm doing a podcast in honor of my cousin for first responders because we love and care about our first responders. I did
Stop.
what I did because I was selfish and I held myself accountable. And part of holding myself accountable was I couldn't change the past, but I
Huh.
could change my future.
Got right there.
Changing the future and what I could be in my potential. And It's possible. And I also want to be a speaker for prisons and stuff for inmates because it's very important for them to understand that you don't have to go back to doing the same things. You have to change your surroundings. You can't go back to the same people that you were with. You have to change everything about yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go back to your old friends because they're going to get you back into trouble. Even if it's family members, you have to change all that stuff.
And that's one thing that I do is one of the things I do is God has given me the gift of being able to write poetry since I was like 6, 7 years old.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
And I've been writing poetry. I've got books and books and books and books and books of stuff that I've written of poetry. Well, when I got let go, I was bored. I was like, man, what can I mess around on Facebook and TikTok and all this stuff, and found that Suno app. I was like, man, I wonder if I could put my poetry into some of that. So now I have over 30 songs on every platform.
Wow.
And one of them that I have is for those ladies.
That's amazing.
And it's called Orange Suit. And in that song, it states clear as day, it could be me or you. One little turn, one wrong turn, one wrong move. It could have been you.
Hmm.
I have a lady out there. Well, I'm not there anymore, but I had a lady who was out of state. She was out of state. Her kids had a party. Her daughter had a party,
Mm.
and a kid died of alcohol poisoning.
Oh, man.
She was charged, got 25 years because she was the homeowner.
Oh, jeez.
She was out of state.
She was working, obviously.
Yeah. She was in a different state. She wasn't even at home.
Right.
How are you giving her 25 years? She wasn't even there. But we've got people like that in prison.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, do we have really bad ones? Yes.
Yes, there are people that belong there. I
But we
strongly believe
have
that.
we have ton, a ton of people that have done 15, 20 years. They came in as a kid.
Yeah.
They've grown up. Let them out. No, they're not the same person. Let them
Right.
out. You're worried about, the prison's population being overcrowded and all this and all that, and money this, money that we can't pay for. Let them out. Let the ones that deserve to be out. I know of like that 1,200 women in prison. I guarantee you I could go in there and I could pick 400 of them and let them out, and they would never come back.
Yeah.
Probably more than that. I could probably pick more than that. But we don't. We don't look at that situation. All we care about is, you broke the law. You're a turd. You can
Hmm.
you can sit here. You're not a human.
Right.
You're a number.
And that
And
that's yeah,
that's
that's
the way
one
you
of the
look at it.
yeah, well, not just that, it's one of the things that I come to realize about the prison systems now are they are a big corporation. It is a big business. There's a lot of money flowing through there. And one of the secrets that I found out about, like, say, Montana, they have brought in private prisons. They have privatized prisons. And you cannot tell me it's a nonprofit because you wouldn't do it out of the kindness of your heart just to put people in prison. No, you're making money hand over
A
fist.
lot. A lot.
So,
A
I mean,
lot.
and one of the things that was brought to light with me is that the reason why they keep letting the same guys out, like in Montana, is because they know they're going to screw up. And they have it rigged that way. They send you to a pre-release within the fiscal year. If you go to prison at the beginning of the fiscal year, the government pays them X amount of dollars to house them
Mhm.
for the year. They let them out a few months later to go to a pre-release center. That pre-release center gets paid that same amount of dollar for the fiscal year. And then a few months later,
Then
they
they
send
come
them back.
back and they get the money again.
Yes, because they don't get paid by the person. They get paid by the head.
Yep.
How many people did you have in your system at that time? And that's why they keep sending them back and forth to the private prisons
Yep.
and to pre-releases and letting them in and out. And one of my things was, I'm not going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
They wanted to put me out on parole, and I was like, no, I don't want to go on parole. Like, why
Me too.
not? I was like, I'm already too close to being done with my time. I'd just rather finish my time and not be a part of the revolving
The
door.
system.
Yeah.
The system, so you can trick me up later.
Right.
And I did something. Say I did something stupid when I didn't do it.
They looked at me
But
like I was crazy, but you know what? I
no,
mean,
I've seen it. I've seen it 1,000 times.
yeah.
The ladies would have like a year or two left, and they're like, "Hey, you can go home on paper," and they're like,
Uh-uh. No way. So I can get
"Nope,"
almost done and you
because
send me back to do it all over again? No.
exactly. So they're like, "Nope, I'll wait out my year. I'll wait out my year," and I don't blame them because the way our system is, like I said, I worked the courthouse for 5 years. I watched an absolutely innocent man charged with murder be found guilty. And then I've watched a man with a written confession, a video confession, and on the stand, he admitted it, but the jury found him not guilty.
Oh, Jesus.
And of murder of a baby.
Oh my gosh.
He flat out admitted the baby wouldn't stop crying, so he smothered her.
Wow.
Handwritten admission. He said, "I feel horrible about it, but I did it." He goes, "I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I did it. I did it." And it came down to his defense attorney. There was a police officer on the stand, and he asked for page 2 of the report. I said, "There is no page 2 of the report."
Mm.
And he goes, "Well, right here at the bottom of the paragraph of your narrative, there's no period at the end. So that's a continuation of a sentence. So where's the page 2 to the continuation of this sentence?" And he goes, "I just forgot to put a period. That's the only page there is."
So it's a technicality.
And he said, "Well, I believe you're hiding something and there's a page 2 and you don't want to reveal it." And the jury bought it.
Oh, jeez.
Reasonable doubt, reasonable doubt. So since a period was not put in a report, a man with a video confession, signed confession, and on the stand that confessed is walking the streets.
So now we're talking about that black dot. That black dot that everybody's focused on instead of all of the white around it.
Exactly. 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 So when I say there's people in prison that don't need to be there, yep. Is there people in prison that need to be there? Yep. Is there
Mhm.
people that need to be out of prison? Yep.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
no matter what though, it's our job to love everybody.
Yeah,
And that's what this world's missing. This
right.
world is missing love and empathy. I wouldn't even call it love, I'd call it empathy.
Mhm.
This world is missing empathy. You don't know what another person is going through. I look normal. Outside, I look normal. You look at my mind, not so normal.
Yeah,
You know, I cannot go to Walmart. I can't do big crowds. I'm
same here.
constant I'm constantly looking over my shoulder.
Same here.
I don't like going public places with my wife. Even though I love her to death, I don't want people seeing me with her, because what if they're coming after me?
Mhm.
Now I'm putting my wife in jeopardy. None of this is going to happen.
Right. It's just hypothetical, but
It's just that's what's in my head
right.
after 30 years and 40 all of it holding it in. That's what my brain tells me now. And that's why I'm trying to tell everybody now, speak up, ask for help. You're not weak. You're not pathetic. And if they make you feel that way, that ain't the job for you.
Mhm.
Get out. Go find you a department or something that really does care. Yeah, I'm unemployed right now and I'm happier than I've ever been. Months and months and months behind on bills, but I don't care
Yeah.
because I finally decided to start living the way I should. We can't, why work 70, 80 years just to enjoy 4 before we pass?
Right.
So I'm just gonna, I'm living life. My dream is, like I said, I got 30 songs out there on all platforms. Maybe someday some artist might like one and want to pick one up. But other than that, I'm just trying to bring people to the positive side of this world,
Hmm.
whether that's inmate, first responder. Like I said at the very beginning, if you have a heartbeat, you are human. You're not a number. You're a person, and you should be loved
Yeah.
no matter who you are. And that's just the way Yana is.
Right. You are never alone. 'Cause you're not.
No. And it took me a long time to realize that. But when I went down to the Shepherd Lights journey, the first night there, man, at night, I was on my phone looking up flights home. I wanted to go home. I did not want to be there. I was like, this is going to be another stupid retreat that's not going to work. That these guys don't care. And I text Dwayne. I said, "Hey, man, I need to go home." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "I need to go home. I just, I just can't be here." And he came to my room and we talked. And he said, "Look, I feel the reason you don't want to be here is the devil doesn't want you here."
Yeah.
He goes, "Give it the night, and we'll talk about it tomorrow." For the past 3.5, almost, well, 3.5 years, I get about 3 hours of sleep a day, 3 to 4 hours sleep a day. That night alone, I slept for 9 hours.
Wow.
And I woke up and I was like, I am so ready to be here. And I took everything in and listened to everything they said. And I'm telling you, I don't know how many things I've been to try to help myself. But the Shepherd's Light Foundation, Dwayne Brown, if anybody is looking for help, that foundation is the absolute best thing I've ever found that helped me and everybody that's involved in that, his wife, KO, anyone that has anything to do with that foundation, they're gold.
Yeah.
None of them lied. I mean, like my flight there, he was checking on me when I landed, when I was in the air, when I landed, at the airport, ready to pick me up, you know, never once let me down on anything. And then when we get to our destination, it is an absolute oasis. It's a piece of heaven.
Hmm.
And there's just serenity and brotherhood, and the best thing is you don't have to pay a dime. You don't have to pay a dime. All you gotta do is take the first step and show up.
Right.
That's it. And that's what I was scared of, is just showing up. And I'm glad I did, because it changed my life. I want to be a part of helping change someone's life like it did mine. Because I went from always being upset and always crying to always, oh, poor, pitiful me, to no, I'm done with that. I'm going to go make somebody happy. I'm going to go make somebody smile. I'm going to go give somebody $1 that's broke. Even though I need it, they need it more.
Right.
They need it more than I do. You know, I've said it I've been on TikTok for almost a year now. And I've said it almost every day. I challenge any millionaire in the world to show up at my door with a cash of $1 million. I'll be the first person to turn it away.
Yeah.
I challenge somebody. What I want to do, I want my, I don't, I got 2.5 years left on my house till it's paid off. And I'm done. Debt free. I don't need money. Now, you want to pay my house off? Cool. All right, pay it off so I don't have to worry about that. But what do I deserve $1 million for? What do I deserve that for? I don't
No.
deserve that. Go give that money to, split it up. Go split that up into homes that people need. Go give it to single moms. Go give it to some single moms who their baby daddy ain't taking care of their baby.
Yeah. Moms that are
Go give it to
struggling
them.
at work. Yeah.
Go give it to them. There's people out there in this world that need help. It's not that hard just to help. It's not. If you really think about it, you're walking around the streets, walking through a store, opening a door for somebody. Did that cost you anything? Saying, hey, you have a good day today. That cost you anything? No. Just being general and nice and polite. It doesn't cost you a dime. But you don't know how much it would cost someone else's mind.
Right.
The physical touch, fist bump. Go through a convenience store and just fist bump people. Hey man, how's it going? And you'll get mixed reactions. You'll get, what the heck? Or you'll get, hey man, how's it going? You'll get one back. It can totally change someone's day. Be that person that changes somebody's day. That's what I strive for every day now.
Yeah.
Every day now I wake up, I just want to change someone's day for the better. And that's it. That's what
Be the change.
be the change.
Yep. Be the change. And that's what we try to do here on the podcast and with all the other endeavors that we have. I mean, we have our own foundation in honor of my cousin. It's called the William H. Bill Butler Jr. Foundation. And we take that, any donations and stuff, we put that towards first responders, getting them help, and, giving scholarships to new recruits and helping juvenile offenders.
That's
And
awesome.
military veterans. And, we like to try to reach out to juvenile offenders because, they are the future and they have a
Yes.
chance. They have their entire lives ahead of them. So if we can help get them counseling and maybe they want to come first responders, we'll give them that opportunity.
I started the reality check program at Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office.
Mhm.
And when juveniles would get in trouble, I had an agreement with judges that they were sentenced to me. They had to report to the jail for 1 day. and I had a whole bunch of you've seen it on TV, I'm sure, where they bring punk kids in and put them with real inmate, and they get scared crapless.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I started that at the jail that I worked at, and it saved a lot, a lot, a lot of kids
That's good.
because they thought they were coming in all hard gang banging, throwing up the signs and everything, and then they get in front of a real gang banger, and oh well, let's not throw up those signs no more.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that no more because here's a real one.
Yes, this guy's
Here's
for
a
real.
real one. You want to act? Here's a real one. So they learned real quick to shut up.
Yeah, these guys aren't playing.
Yeah,
That's
but
pretty
yeah,
awesome.
I can happily say that I have 30 years gone, but that was just one side of me,
Mm-hmm.
and God has replaced that side that has been missing, that was taken from me, with Him.
Yeah,
So I don't feel like I have anything like a hole missing because it was replaced with Him,
yeah,
and I'm just on fire for Him now.
right.
So, and on fire for helping anyone with a heartbeat that is afraid to speak out.
Oh, it seems
That's
like
all.
God had gave you a unique perspective to see all sides of things, to
Hmm.
see not just the inmate side and the humanity side, but see the ugly side of the system.
Yes, yeah, because I've been through. I've been a police officer. I was a police officer at the courthouse, so I know our judicial system sucks. I worked the streets, so I've put people in prison.
Yeah,
I've worked a prison, and I know people should be out that shouldn't be there. So you're exactly right. I've seen every step there is, and it all needs to change.
all right.
It all needs to change. And the number one thing that needs to change is humanity. That is the biggest thing that has to change. If we can all just start treating each other like humans and having some decent common sense, we wouldn't have these issues. If parents start being parents, it sounds kind of pedophile-ish, but drive by an elementary school, drive by a first grade, second grade school. You're not going to see any of them fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see any of them yelling at each other. All you're going to see is them out there playing, holding hands, having fun.
Yeah,
They don't know hate. They learn hate from us.
yeah,
They learn division from us. Oh, well, my big brother doesn't like so and so because he's a certain color. Well, I better not either.
yeah,
Or my brother or my sister doesn't like so and so because they do this. I better not either.
yeah.
Mom and dad don't like this person because of this. I better not either. Stop.
Yeah, it's a learned behavior.
Teach your kids to love everyone, and we won't have this issue. If you love somebody, why would you want to hurt them? You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. That's
Love.
They need to
Live
take
your
the
life with
page out of the
love.
Bible. Take the page out of the Bible.
Live your
Learn from
life
it.
with love. So,
That's
but
pretty
that's
awesome.
me, man. That's
Yeah.
me.
Hey, you know what? We love you and we appreciate everything you've done for the community. I definitely appreciate the fact that you've come on here and told your story, and you have given a unique perspective, not just for me, but for other people. And so when other first responders and other people who listen to the podcast can understand, like, hey, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we aren't alone. We're not alone because there are other people that went through the same thing that I did,
Mhm.
and you're giving them an opportunity to come forward. Now you spoke about Shepherd's Light, which, we did an
Yes.
interview with Dwayne Brown, and it seems like they're doing an amazing job.
They amazing. I like I can't I can't say how much of an amazing job they're doing because like I said, I've been to I don't know how many therapy retreats and all that, but there was just something about this one that I don't know. It was totally different. It was led totally different. It felt totally different.
Yeah,
And I think it was because of the way it was led and who it was led by. It was led by guys who know us, who knows how we feel, who know what we're going through. It wasn't a doctor who got their license through college, who's never faced anything,
right.
who's never been through that situation. We're hearing and feeling this from guys like me. And I think that's one of the reasons Dwayne maybe asked me to come back and be an instructor is because I know what these guys are going through. Now, does everybody have the same? No, no, no. Everybody's PTSD is different. Everybody's struggles are different. But how can you help somebody if you don't know how they feel?
Right. You don't know what they're going through.
I mean, if you don't understand it, that feeling of being on the rope and just wanting to let go,
Hmm.
no one cares. No one will care if I'm gone. I mean, what does it matter?
Yeah.
I've been there. I know that feeling. So I can help guys that have had that feeling. I've been there. But somebody that's never been there, don't tell me just to get over it. How do you know? You've never been there. You don't know what the feeling. You don't know the feeling. So just to say it'll be okay and just get over it, I don't want to hear that from you. I want to hear that from somebody that's been through it,
Right.
like me. Hey, it never, it never gets easier.
Yeah.
It gets more manageable.
Right. Because it never goes away. You just got to learn how
Right.
to reframe it and deal with it differently.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
And it's all about, in my opinion, and I'll say it until the day I die, it's God.
Yeah.
It is all God.
Absolutely. He's got his hand in a lot of things.
He's got his hand in my life big time.
Right.
But I just want to say I appreciate you giving me the time and the opportunity to speak to your community and your podcast. And just always remember, guys, no matter what you're going through, you're never alone. Speak up,
Hmm.
let your emotions out. If you see something, talk about it. You see something bad, let it out. Me and my wife, every day before we go to bed, I talk for 5 minutes. She talks for 5 minutes. I don't say a word while she's talking. She doesn't say a word while I'm talking.
Hmm.
After that, the next 5 minutes, we're talking about what each other talk about.
Yeah.
15 minutes a day. 15 minutes, that's it. And it's worked for over 30 years. We never go to bed mad, never go to bed angry at one another because for 5 minutes we get to talk to each other.
It's amazing.
No matter what you're feeling, let it out. If your wife or husband made you mad that day, let them know. Let them know
Hmm.
because if you don't, it's just going to build up and build up and build up and build up. And then you're going to start having resentment.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many divorces in the world today. Speak up. Hey, you made me mad today. Why? You did this. Okay, well, I'll try to stop that. We don't know what each other's going through unless we don't speak to one another.
Mhm.
And you don't know what somebody's going through because you're not in their head. You don't, and you haven't been through what they're going through. So just treat each other with kindness and love, guys. Look for that white around that black dot.
Right. That's exactly right. All right, my friend. God bless you, and we wish you all the best. And you have a organization that you're working on currently?
I'm trying to. I haven't started anything officially yet. I've come up with a name,
Okay.
but I'm gonna start a 501 nonprofit and a LLC for Yana Crew Ministry,
Okay.
and everything that I make or donated or fundraised anything. And the reason I want it on all that is so I can have it on record.
Yeah.
So I can have everything on record and show if anybody says that, oh, well, Jared's trying to do that. No, it's right here. Look,
Yeah.
it's right there. And I'm going to be, everything's going to be going to the Shepherd's Light.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Everything I make will be going to the Shepherd's Light Foundation or my ministry if I need something for my ministry, but I'm not keeping a dime.
Right.
But me personally, I'm not keeping a dime. I will not make a dime off of my ministry or the Shepherd's Light. It's not going to pay my electric bill. It's not going to pay any of my bill. It's not doing any of that. I want to help people. So once I get money saved up and all this, and I'm able to start it all, then I'll start it all. But until then, I'm just doing anything I can to help anyone with a heartbeat.
Right. Well, when you get that started, let us know. Keep in touch, and
I will.
we can help promote that stuff.
I will. I
And
appreciate it, brother. And I appreciate you having me on.
you're very welcome. And I appreciate you coming on here, giving us your time, because time is very precious. We know
Yeah.
that.
So I appreciate it. And I thank you very much.
All right, brother. We love you, and we thank you for everything you've done. And we hope to have you back on here in the future. We do have an off-duty edition, so
Anytime.
yeah,
Anytime.
yeah. So we will see you in the future whenever you're ready. You just hit
Yes,
us
sir.
up, and we'll let you back on here, and then
Yes,
we'll
sir.
just talk a little bit.
All right. You have a good one, brother.
You too. Take care.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on 8158 Stories of Sacrifice. Every story we share is a tribute to the courage and resilience of first responders and their families. If this episode impacted, encouraged, or inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who supports first responders. Follow us on all social media platforms at 8158 Podcast for updates. 8158 Stories of Sacrifice is a team effort. Rico brings the stories to life through casting, writing, original music, and editing. Brianne Shipley as production manager, handling booking, social media, graphics, promotion, marketing, website management, and logo design. Please visit our website at 8158podcast.com. For questions, collaborations, or to share your story, our email address is contactus@8158podcast.com. Until next time, let's continue to honor the legacies and remember the sacrifices of those who serve, every brave man and woman on the front lines, protecting and defending us all. This is Rico signing off and honoring 8158.